Bumping the brakes off? Get out of the way! Get out
Today, I'll be reacting to a TV ad that I did last year. Technically, I'm not sure if it ever went on TV, but it was basically, television budget, organized thing, producers, directors, with several 5 cameras, 10 people running around making sure that, your pen's in the right pocket, like just random details that no one cares about. But it was a big production, so let's get into it. I'll watch it first, and then I'll tell you what I think about it, and the things that went into it behind the scenes. So let's go. Have recreated superpower.
Hello, my name's Michael. So this is a research experiment, part of a neuroscience development.
You notice my voice is
What we have
different?
here is an NPID. It's a neuroparticle
Magic.
interface device. Now that sounds exciting. Yeah, it sounds almost like mind control, right?
Pick up some of your biometric.
What I'm going to ask you to do is look at that object, visualize it displacing. I want you to really try to focus onto those glasses. Just try and visualize them moving. Really try to focus.
That's all me, boy.
Whoa!
That's all me right there, son.
That's probably the best we've had.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I know this is gonna sound crazy. Can you just stand up for me for a second? Just 1 second. You see that bus over there? I want you to just imagine
So ambitious.
the windscreen wipers just moving, and I want you to just really focus it in your mind.
Shit!
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
Wow!
Whatever you do, don't imagine it running us over, right? That would be bad. That would be so
Don't let
terrible.
the brake off.
Yeah, the brake off, right? That'd be another story completely.
Bumping the brakes off? Get out of the way! Get out of the way!
My heart.
Oh my god.
Are you okay?
Oh my goodness.
Using the power of your mind, you've actually convinced yourself that this is real.
Wait. Oh! Oh, hi. You tricked me, man.
It's not a real baby, right?
All right, so that's the ad. That is the ad that I was in. Energy Online. There we go. There we go. That's it. There's a couple things about that. You notice that my voice magically changed somehow between the time I did the ad and the time I've recorded videos. So that's quite interesting. The first thing that I want to say is I got hired for this, and like the first perception I had was like, oh yeah, we need a magician. I was like, okay, cool. I'll come in and do the whatever you need. And then they were like, okay, well, we need you to do this and this and this. And well, personally, I haven't done much PK work, which is, things moving around mysteriously without anyone touching them, telekinesis, that kind of stuff. That was never my style. So I was always like, hearing this, I was like, oh shit, like I might have to go through some uncharted territory right here. But what so I was just like, I'll say yes, and then I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to make it happen, whatever they want me to do. So that was interesting. But then when I actually went there, it turns out they also wanted me to act. Now I knew they were gonna tell me, give me some lines to say and whatever. I didn't expect to have to improvisationally act like a role for 2 days straight. Okay, so let me explain to you what this whole thing was, and I think the editing doesn't do it justice. I think they could have made this actually a viral campaign if they actually just treated it like an internet piece of content, because it was designed for the internet. But I say television because it's kind of that style. What they actually did is they had these, they were basically they sent out like a thing Like we need participants in a study where we're developing this new thing that allows you to control, manipulate things in the real world. Now, they had a bunch of requests to be subjects, and out of those subjects, they kind of vetted them and stuff. And for like 6 months before this thing even happened, they were basically, just I don't even know the word right now, not milking them, but they were basically just sending them like fake information about the study, like all the research that went in, and they were just kind of like conditioning them to like think this is legit, right? And then when the people came into the thing, it was like a little stall, and I was supposed to be the lead scientist, right? That was working on the project. Now, see, the problem with scientists and the perception of what a scientist is that I went in there and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll be the scientist, and we were doing rehearsals, and the director keeps coming up to me. He's like, listen, you're up here. I need you down here. I'm like, what? What do you? He's like, you're just too like entertaining. You're too you're too like up there. I need you. Think of what a scientist is like, man. Just numbers, crunching numbers all day long. You got to be boring. You got to be like almost bored of what you're doing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I practiced, my whole career to be entertaining, to capture attention, to, you know what I'm saying? To try to do what I'm doing right now, which is speak in front of an audience. And this guy is telling me, no, I need to somehow be non-charismatic and shitty and boring. So that was very hard. And also, like, I would have to interact with the people that came into this test. They had no idea it was a setup, but I had to interact as if I'm the scientist, and they would ask me questions, and I had to have a scientific sounding answer, so it was like a genuine like act role. It was more acting than magic for sure, 100%. I went in way over my head. I didn't realize what it was. So basically we were like during rehearsals, and there's like 30 people, 40 people that were like assistants, safety managers, like I don't even know what the hell their job titles, descriptions were. Like people in the back room watching everything on cameras, like 3 cameras in every angle, and they're just like watching and just saying, I think he needs to be more to the right. I don't think, see how he's in that shot to the left a little bit? If he puts, oh yeah, see how he gave that thing away, or he laughed at the wrong time, or whatever. And then whatever those guys were saying back there, the director would come up to me and be like, I need you to do this, 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 and this. Like, I've never in my life had that much pressure, because here I am, someone that's not used to being boring or acting like someone, you know what I mean? I can act as a magician. I don't know how to act as, a scientist. They're trying to get me to act and do the magic at the same time, and keep track of everything that's involved with that. And I'm not going to really go into how I necessarily did the PK and the glasses flipping, but let's just say it was a lot of setup and a lot of rigging. And there was a bunch of times when like the crew would come in to like just make sure, I need to put a camera or change the battery for this GoPro, and they would just break my rig straight up. And then the director would come back and he'd be like, all right, we're ready to film. Are you ready? And I'm like, no, your freaking assistant just broke my shit. And then the director was like kind of like annoyed that I was annoyed. I'm like, what do you mean? Now all the pressure's on me to try to get this shit done. He's like, all right, how long do you need? I'm like, 5 minutes. He's like, you got 2. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was the amount of stress, I think I can't remember, it was the second or first day, I went to the toilet and puked. All right. And like, generally speaking, I can handle stress pretty well. Like high pressure situations, I'm in it. But this was like, if I had known the amount of pressure and stress this would have caused me, it was a good experience though, for sure. Now let's get into the freaking elephant in the room. Why is my voice different? After I filmed this, and everything, the shooting was done and everything, my girlfriend and I went to Nepal for all those videos, the 2 videos that you saw on my channel. If you haven't seen them, I'll put a link right in the description. You should watch them. We got stuck on a mountain for 24 hours. The police held us there because they just wouldn't let us leave. But we weren't arrested, which is strange. I made a video called Magic in Nepal. That's pretty cool. I did magic to the locals and stuff in remote mountain villages and shit. So you should definitely check that out. But anyway, while we were in Nepal, the director sends me an email and they're like, we need to do overlay audio because we didn't catch, some of the audio was wrong. just wasn't set up properly when we filmed it. So we need to do overlay audio. We'll pay you, come in and let's do audio. And I'm like, well, you're gonna have to wait 2 weeks, because I'm in Nepal. Didn't hear back, no response, nothing. Just a terrible experience with these guys, honestly. Like, just like, common courtesy, be like, oh, it's okay, we'll do something else or whatever. But no, nothing. They just flat out didn't respond. And when I see it come out, it's got someone else's voice. So that's what happened. Okay. But yeah, so let me talk about like actual experience, right? People would come in and I had to sell them the idea that this is like a scientific experiment. So instantly I knew this can't happen instantly. If they just put this shit on and it just works, it's too easy. Like, it's just not believable, because if that was that easy, then why is it in stores available for consumers, right? People would be making millions of dollars with this stuff. So it had to seem like most people fail, right? Like, it doesn't work only on 0.01% of the people, blah, 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 blah. So we had several objects on the table, and I would basically run them through this meditation session, right? Like, I would drag it out for like 10 minutes with each person. So every shot you saw was like a 40-minute interaction, every single person, and we did more people than you even saw. So some people didn't react very well, or just, weren't really into it, or some people smelt the bullshit. Some people saw one guy saw a camera in the corner. He's like, nah, this is fake. So we had some of those. But this whole thing was shot 2 days full of filming. Like, I don't know, 20 hours maybe. I don't even know how long it took, right? Of filming distilled into 2 minutes. And I think the concept of this was so freaking good. If they focused on the fact that these guys were, followed through for months and fed information and made a whole thing out of each individual that came in, and made a whole kind of almost social experiment or documentary style thing. I feel like this could have gone viral because it was so interesting and such a high budget. And the whole bus thing, that was real, that happened. Like, they had a bus on standby that would the windows were blacked out in a way that it looked like it was empty, right? But there was an operator behind the window, and he would just silently, without an engine or anything, would just let the bus run down the hill towards us, right? So, there was a little bit sketchy, and right at the last minute, he would just hit the brakes, right in front of the pram, and, that whole thing. So this was like a really, really well-organized thing. Like, they could have done so much with it, but they wanted to distill it into 2 minutes, and I just feel like it lost all the, it has a bit of impact value, and I think maybe it would be good for TV, but they would, I think their whole idea was an internet campaign. So for me as a media, social media guy, I could see this being super viral. It's just they didn't do the right thing with it, in my opinion. But anyway, so the magic part, right? So they had several objects on the table, and I would go nice to meet you, blah, blah. I would do some fake record stuff. I would ask them random ass questions that supposedly were good for our statistics or some shit, just purely to, convince them, essentially. It just convinces. And basically, the more I could keep them in the interaction, the more bored I could be, and the more casual and nothing's happening, and just kind of the more they feel I just want to get out of here, the more believable it would be that holy shit, we didn't even expect this to happen. You're the chosen child, you're the one person where this shit works for. So they had several things on. They would put this fake thing with magnets that doesn't do anything. It was actually just a microphone, so it was really easy to record them. And we had these things on the table, and all 4 objects or something, and then the glasses, and those are I'll be like, okay, I want you to focus on this one, and it'll be a wooden object, or I want you to focus on this one, a plastic object, and I just keep moving through them, and every time I'd make them do this breathing exercise, and and I would act like I'm not expecting it to work, so don't get excited, we're just trying to get tests and that kind of thing. And eventually we'd give the glasses a go, and they they do this whole breathing thing. I'm far away, there's no way I could be anywhere near it, you know what I mean? And they're concentrating, and the glasses just flip, and there's nothing on the table, they you can look on it, it's there's not like there's no way they could have. There's just in their minds. There's no way that I could have had anything to do with that. Anyone could have had anything to do with that. The table couldn't have, like, you know, they would. I've had several people were like, "Is there something on the table?" Nothing there, you know. So the magic part of it, I killed it. I killed it. You know what I mean? It worked every time. None of them suspected the method. None of them suspected that I was necessarily like the one doing it, or you know what I mean? Like they suspected the whole thing for being fake, but not. You know, they still had no idea how I did it. In fact, for the rehearsals and even a bunch of the filming, we had some actors come in that were just paid there to be there and practice with and stuff like that. And even, I mean, they knew it was, you know, a show or like some kind of some kind of commercial, but they were still like, what the hell? The glasses just freaking flipped. You know what I mean? They had no idea. So I was really happy with how that worked out, even though I'm not sure. Like I just went, yeah. IT work is, and if you're a magician, you know what that means. IT work is not my specialty, and I learned a lot actually doing it. So it was the longest rig you could probably make, because I just wanted to be as far away from the subject as possible when it happens. But yeah, it was this whole choreographed thing. Yeah, and it was just like. The funny part was also trying to keep in character, you know what I mean, as long as possible. Like they were telling me, don't break character, because like what I would do is as soon as the bus would start rolling and I would see their reaction, you know what I mean, I'd just be like cracking up, just because it's like they were just absolutely terrified, you know. So I had to like, oh man, oh, we almost died just then, oh, you know, like that kind of shit. But nah, man, it was a good experience. It was really funny. But the stress, man, the stress on that shit. You know, like, if they just gave me lines and I just had to do my spiel, you know, do my lines, I could practice my lines. I knew what my lines were. I could practice them in a way that, you know, sounded boring. If they were like, okay, you see how you're saying that word in this way? That's too excited, too high energy, bring it down. So then I could work mechanically through a piece of script. But in this case, they were literally like improvise all your bullshit, you know? Like, they gave me a bunch of stuff to say, but I still had to improvise, you know what I mean? Like, it was more like a guideline of things I could say, but like at the end of the day, I still had to improvise and act, and that was something I wasn't prepared for. And, you know, I guess now I know, and now I've done it, so I can say, like, you know, it'd probably be easier again. But Jesus Christ, I mean, that was difficult, you know what I mean? Like, very, very hard. Very hard. But I mean, the guy that I was with, the guy that I was in the tent with me, he was the sound guy, and he was a cool guy, so he kind of made the whole thing, like, he relaxed me a little bit, you know, because the director, man, I didn't get a single piece of positive criticism, positive reinforcement the whole of rehearsals the first day. Like, all I heard was criticism. The director would come to me, he's like, you're doing this too much, I want you less of this, I want this. And the fact that there's 40 people waiting while this guy's giving me instructions, and I try the next take and he's not happy with it again, and he does it again, and there's another, you know what I mean? And every time we did a take, 4 like massive cameras would hide in these vans in the car park, and everyone would just disappear, and like it would look like a car park with no one in it. And then as soon as, you know, the take was over, everyone would come out, 40 people in the friggin' car park, crazy, everything's resetting, everyone's doing stuff. Do you need this? Do you need that? Freaking sound guy tries to come in, breaks my shit, breaks my rig. I have to spend another 10 minutes to rig it up, even though like the director's mad at me that I'm taking so long, and I'm like, it's not my fault because your guys are idiots and they're messing with my shit, you know what I mean? So like, oh, you know, it was rough. It was stressful for sure. But I definitely like, I love the opportunity to have it. If I could go back in time, I would definitely do it again. Maybe I would have asked for more money. Maybe I would have asked for more, just knowing how much that took. But and I was basically the lead goddamn actor. That literally, like, the whole thing was hinged on the glasses flipping over. If the glasses don't flip over, which could have happened because, you know, things can break and things like that. But if the glasses don't flip over, then everything's like, there's no way they can believe that a bus is gonna, you know, they've just telekinesis the brakes off a bus and it's gonna come back to them, you know what I mean? So that was a central point of this whole freaking probably $100,000 budget thing. I don't know, but I'm assuming. But anyways, that's my experience. I haven't really shared with this because I was always annoyed at the fact that they didn't use my voice, so I didn't want to like post it and stuff. But I think it's an interesting thing, you know. It's an interesting experience. Interesting. I've never done ads, so I guess now I have an insight into how, you know, the TV area and, you know, hemisphere of the world, and, you know, like that whole entertainment aspect of how it works, you know, how movies are done. Like I just have a lot more insight, even though it was definitely a lot more. I bit a lot more than I could chew. I mean, I chewed it in the end, but there it is. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, I'm doing videos every week. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. New Zealand time, new video drops. So definitely look out for that. If you haven't been checking out my last ones, these are like, I've been putting a lot of effort into them. A lot of thought goes into them. They're not as popular as the React videos just because the algorithm. So YouTube's just not been recommending them. You know, like my subscribers aren't been getting notifications. There's a whole thing with YouTube. I don't know what they're doing. Don't know what they're up to. But if you have enjoyed this, check out my latest videos. Make sure you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. Like and share and do all that good shit. You know what I'm saying? Get a job at, I don't know, get a job, you know, with those guys with the street signs on the road. And just put my name on their YouTube channel and just start flipping that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just flip that shit. Flip that sign, boy. Flip that sign for me, boy. If you want. Appreciate it. Peace out.